everyone. I hope you had a wonderful afternoon or day. I don't know what time zone you guys are in right now. But I'm Georgiana. I'll be hosting this workshop, Trial and Error, Navigating Your First Research Project, hosted by the lovely Girl Genius Magazine. You guys can hear me. Put your thumbs up if you can hear me well. Period. All right, dope. I really love that you guys came out, and I'm so happy that I see more young people doing research and super interested in doing research this summer. I know COVID, a lot of things have been going on. I had a lot of my opportunities for research have actually been canceled because COVID. Had a bioinformatics internship during summer that got canceled. 2 got canceled. So now I'm doing research, but I'll talk a little bit more about that. Before we formally start, I'm Georgiana. My current research background is a mixture of things. I do bioinformatics, natural language processing, interaction. My, I guess, accreditations or like accomplishments, I was a 2018 CSSI Atlanta alumni. Atlanta was the best hub, don't at me. I was also the, sorry, oh my God. I'm so old, I'm so sorry. I was also the 2018 Google Generation Scholar, really big accomplishment, good amount of money. I'm an MLT SWE Fellow, which is Organization Management Leadership Tomorrow. Also, I am a 2020 Google Research Scholar, and I'm an ICCAE Scholar for 2 years now. I do a bunch of other things on campus. I'm also the IEEE president for this school year. I'm a rising junior at Alabama A&M University, which is a small HBCU in Alabama. I'm currently interning at Carnegie Mellon's Sports Analytics Camp. So it's doing a mixture of data science, sports, etc. I'm more of an esports type of person, so it's super interesting. But let me stop talking about myself. So in this workshop, we'll cover like a few different things. I'm also going to give you guys a chance to ask me questions that I didn't get to answer in your forms. I will cover what is research, topic finding, project management, managing roadblocks, and future findings. I see you guys are busy in chat. I'm so sorry. I love you guys. See you guys chatting. So formally, what is research? As you guys are at different grade levels, I just want to give a formal definition, which is research is mostly careful and detailed study into a specific problem or issue using a scientific method. But there's so much other ways to define research. I really want to stress a lot that research does not have to be only done in labs and through professors. A lot of my research projects in high school was through mentorship, independent work, and also I did talk to professors, but I also didn't have access to universities in my area who were accepting of high schoolers to do projects. So no matter what research you have currently, you can do a research project and complete it and feel confident about it. So finding the topic, probably one of the most hardest thing you can do. Many of the different statements I got when I was looking through your forums and everything, and also talking to other high schoolers in my area, is that finding a topic is kind of easy, but it's just hard to overthink things. And if you change topic interest, it kind of shows you're not responsible enough. I want to say that's a lie. A lot of even professors, they change their research topics almost every year or every few years. And it's okay to not have interest in the topic that you're researching, or you might want to change it. It's completely fine. There's different, you don't have to be stuck in that area. If you're interested in CS, but you don't want to do research in that, you can completely go to liberal arts. There's different ways. You guys can still hear me? Okay, dope. So I want to give you guys a quick question. What has stopped you from selecting a topic for your research project or like a research presentation or anything? If you want to put it down in the chat, I would love to see your answers. Okay, fear of being unoriginal. Too many options, too complicated, my technical skills. Thing has been done many times before. Okay, overwhelming, resources, fear of overcomplication, not knowing where to start. Okay, wow, there's a lot of. Thank you for answering. This is actually quite interesting to me. Structure. Okay. Too young? No one's too young to do research. Come on now. Okay. Okay, I love these answers. Okay. So let me go to the next one. I'm still reading. All right. So I kind of, for research, since this might be your first research project or may not be, I usually like to separate things into four areas to find topics from. For instance, my first official research project was really tied into my identity. When I did Angel Scan, which was like a really big research project I did in high school senior year, that I present and still work on. And I got the abstract published, woo! But basically, my mother was in the hospital, and we have a hospital monopoly in our area. I won't say the name of the hospital because legal reasons. But basically, they have a very high amount of cases of abusing Caribbean and Caribbean American patients. There is a lot of malpractice cases that they had, but basically they run the whole state hospital system. So if you want to go to a hospital in my area or maybe down south, you would run into that hospital and they don't really have the standards, and they don't really recognize that they have high bias towards immigrant patients. And so my mom was in one of the hospitals. It was a huge mess, and I wanted a way that more patients could, maybe if they had like cancer or they just had breast cancer, they wanted to go somewhere else, or just had a mammogram and they just didn't trust their typical radiologist, and they just don't have the resources to go out of state to get someone to look at their mammograms. So I wanted a low, how do I say, low risk and low cost way to scan mammograms and get any abnormalities and categories, anything in a cheap, simple way. And that was a lot for a high schooler. Don't recommend it. But I was doing a lot of machine learning and using different types of data, mammogram data. And now that I'm in college, I still continue that research. It's a very big project for only me, but it was a really amazing experience. Got some scholarships from it, and I love it. I still continue it to this day. It ties in with the community. It ties in with my identity. Also ties in with industry. I wanted to do machine learning because I saw a bunch of cool YouTubers talk about machine learning. And I know that sounds so pretentious, but it really is. If your industry, like in CS, is super into natural language processing, or maybe they're into 3D modeling, it's completely fine to start using those tools because there's more availability in those resources. So I guess, what would, if you guys had to choose a topic that you want to do, what would you do? I just want to know. You can just spit it out. No topic is unoriginal. No topic is too complicated. Just say it in the chat. Oh my God, you guys are already starting. Okay, don't say something sciencey. We love that science. Mental health in third world countries. Oh, by the way, one key tip, I just want to state this, I'll show in the other slides, that finding data is super hard, but you can find it. I'll give some resources at the end for you. I know this is just all over the place, but I just want to state some few things before. I love all these ideas. You probably sound like a teacher right now, like a kindergarten teacher saying, oh my God, your idea is so amazing. Give me more. Okay, I love it. I love this so much. Okay, thank you for giving me your amazing ideas. Honestly, I'm not going to use them. I'm just I want you guys to put stuff out there so you can know this is what you want to do. I feel like the hardest thing is putting your idea out there and not judging it or adding any critique to it. But this is just a good, I'm just using my hands a lot during this presentation, but this is a good way to segment what you want and split your topics what you want. For instance, I'll give you a sample idea. I would love to see how many, okay, let me bring this back. I would love to see how many people in the hospital that has the monopoly, how do they feel like their service was good or not. I don't think the hospital releases their data publicly, but if I bug them enough, possibly would release it, because they do surveys at the end to see is your service as good or not? Did a nurse hurt you or anything? Did the doctor say a slur at you? That type of thing, because our hospitals in Alabama or something else. So I just want to give you a quick thing of like my research focus, how I switched from high school to college. I was super into mechanical engineering, space engineering, and also bioterrorism prevention, which was really specific as a high schooler. So my main things were space, is the final frontier for bacterial infections. My first research hypothesis was I was submitting for NASA Genes in Space, and the first year was we had a specific gene that we thought would mutate in the International Space Station environment, just from previous evidence and also previous papers, and we wanted to track if an astronaut were to have that gene, where they're at higher risk for bacterial infections, because the people who had that specific gene died in hospitals faster due to exposure to different types of bacteria. Is bioterrorism prevention a career path? I used to ask my science teacher that so much in IB. I was part of the International Baccalaureate program. I was a really weird kid who was supposed to be like, can I do my paper on bioterrorism? Please, let me do that. And they said no several times. The third one in high school was, machine learning is so cool, but using it in healthcare would be cooler. Now as I get older and then I realize there's a lot of other scientists trying to do machine learning in healthcare, they don't really understand that there's some problems that can't be fixed with technical solutions, and the ethics of those technical solutions, it's shady. So I kind of stopped focusing on applying technical solutions in healthcare and more of like in college. Now I'm thinking about the ethics and accessibility and for those standards of machine learning and algorithms and everything, and also algorithmic fairness, a really big thing that I'm doing in Google Research Program. We have a research group where we just talk about algorithmic fairness. But in college, one of my friends actually told me I do it for the girls and the gays. That's it, a good way to start a thesis. I really hone into my identity and also people that I really care about. I feel like mostly women of color, and also queer people aren't really focused enough in research. You don't really see a lot of topics on us, and if there is topics, there's a lot of bias, really bad bias, that could hurt the community even more. So as a queer Black woman, I really do focus and hone on to my research in those areas and say like, this is for this community. It can be applied on different communities, but I'm specifically targeting that community. And also, I'm a big gamer. And so one of the research groups I'm a part of, we were talking about reinforcement modeling. OpenAI has recently opened their competition for Minecraft reinforcement modeling. And I'll send a link to that because it's really interesting. I really love it. Honestly, I could talk about it forever. But I'm trying to find a reinforcement API for Dark Souls, which Dark Souls is it's not a fun game to play, but it's more of the grinding of playing Dark Souls. So thinking about how the reward system for an algorithm will be set up, how you dodge a boss that it's really hard to beat as a human. How does a computer beat a boss that's extremely hard. So it's a whole bunch of things. Okay, so I really want to do a showcase for my fellow peers and Google Research Scholars. As you know, Google Research Scholars is when you go to college, depending on your university, they have a partnership with Google. My HBCU has a partnership with Google, a lot of them do. But you get to apply to be a Google Research Scholar, either a faculty member that is a partner with that program will nominate you, and then you get selected. I'm one of 2 HBCUs representing for this year out of like 20 students. A lot of our group is from Harvard, Stanford, and it's just nice to see some representation. Also, we also do have students who went from community college, so it's like an all-around group. It's not like, oh my God, they only like the Ivy Leagues. Oh my God, they only like the HBCUs. It's a really diverse group, and I really love that about our group for this year. So let me brag on Naba. She's currently going to be a PhD student. In her topic, she also is a part of Adobe Research Scholars. Her research is basically using human-computer interaction to tackle race and gender bias in ADHD diagnosis. She's really amazing. She also has a group on Facebook where they talk about like a non-technical path to tech. And to give a little summary about her research that she says sent over, she's really amazing, honestly, all her on LinkedIn. Existing computer science research on diagnosis tools for ADHD do not take race and gender into consideration. The importance of building more inclusive diagnosis technology are highlighted in this paper along with recommendations for improvement. She submitted this to Kai, a research workshop paper, and she got accepted, which is not common for undergraduates to go to a really prestigious conference and get accepted for the workshop paper. So she did an amazing job. I'll see if she wants me to link her demo paper, but she's amazing. Follow her, give her some praise. And then we have Julia, really nice. She's so nice. And her research is on segmentation of critical autonomy and surgical procedures using computer vision. She's currently at Stanford. She will be graduating, I think, next year, and I think she's doing her master's. But let me give a summary of what she's doing. So, motivated by the need to identify critical soft tissue during surgical procedures to avoid irreplaceable damage, we are using computer vision to perform soft tissue, particularly nerve and parathyroid tissue segmentation and surgical images with the goal of flagging important tissue regions to surgeons during procedures in real time. So for all these lovely women in STEM, honestly, amazing, wonderful. I'll give like a few minutes so you can like write their names down. Also, I think Naba's paper should be publicly accessible. So just type in her name and then using HCI to tackle race and gender bias, and you'll find her paper on Kai conference. You guys get it? Got it? Let me look. All right. Oh. All right. Okay, so the biggest thing about research is, especially doing independent research, especially if it's your first project, is project management. Without a solid hypothesis, your project is boneless. This is not a quote from Admiral Grace Hopper. I needed someone other than me to have a quote here. And so, a hypothesis, as you know, does anyone know what a hypothesis is or is not? I just want to give a quick, I want to see. Oh, I just saw your question. Do you ask a professor to nominate you for Google Scholars? Honestly, my professor, Terry Miller, she nominated me because she knew that I did a lot of research on campus for freshman year. So I got lucky. She was just like, I just knew you did it. And so she nominated me. I actually emailed her, and I saw Cornell was nominating their people for Google Research Scholars because my friend put me on their email list. And then I emailed her, and then she already nominated me. Okay, there's a lot of yeses, a prediction, and guess, something testable that can go on a album line, educated guess. So in a sense, yes, it is an educated guess. A hypothesis can be broken down into almost like a goal for your end goal for your research project. It may not be what you're looking for. So let's just say my research project of angel scan, I thought I would be able to predict abnormalities better than a radiologist, a trained radiologist fresh out of certifications. And my model could not detect abnormalities as well. I would say I would not be able to achieve my hypothesis. I did not get the answer that I want. Sometimes certain hypotheses kind of allude to bias in the author/scientist, but that's the expected duration of the presentation, 30, 40 minutes. I'm going to do Q&A at the end, but most of the time, I'll talk a little bit more about that, but a hypothesis is a really good way to kind of anchor your project. Instead of going willy-nilly all over the place, you have a certain set of goals. So you achieve your hypothesis, or if your results are not going your way, then you can kind of switch it over. Guys can hear me well? Are you still here? All right, dope. I know some of you guys are genius kids, and I don't want to at all bore you. So this is a breakdown of how I manage my projects. This is a short guide. I also will send these slides over in the chat. But basically, I form my hypothesis and find a solid topic, and then I do preliminary readings. And preliminary readings are really important because if you have a certain topic and you don't really know if anyone's doing this, that research in the industry or in academia, it kind of gives you if you find a paper, you get almost like an extra step in going to the right direction. Undergraduate papers are really good for high school because it kind of gives you solid expectations of what you want your project to be. For example, Stanford Natural Language Processing course that's publicly available to everyone. They have their undergraduate papers after you complete the course, undergraduates have to submit a paper and get to see how they did it. So it's really helpful, especially when you don't know where you're going with your project, what tools you need. You get to see a paper or from an undergraduate or a grad student or anyone who wants to write a paper. Yeah, especially if you write one for you on your own. I always give you some resources for research. Give me a second. I'm so sorry, this is extending way too long. Also, I give some project goals and expectations. Usually, this is really, if it's your first time, also you guys can email me if you have any questions after this, or you want to define your project. But giving solid project goals of where you want to do, so for example, if you want your research to be put on your college applications, you probably want solid results. You probably want to do maybe a workshop or maybe submit to Intel's competition, Google Science Fair competition, to give you a little bit more credibility on your college applications. That's a solid expectation. Record keeping is really important, and staying accountable is even more important. During COVID, the start of COVID, I can be honest with you, I did not keep track of any of my research. I was a nanny during that time, on top of going to college. I was nannying for my mentor. She was remote, and also her bioinformatics lab that I used to work for, they applied for a COVID NIH grant, and so they had to work 10 hours each day for 3 weeks. So that was a lot. So I nannied her kids, a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. And I would, even during my after hours, I would be asked to play all the time. So I really didn't get a lot of work done. But I think with the people that I have that held me accountable, they allowed for me to miss some deadlines that I set for myself because it was COVID. You're not going to get everything that you want done. Also, getting results and double checking getting your results is important, but double checking to make sure you didn't make a mistake is even more important. My angel scan, the first year I did in high school, I thought I got the results that I want. I thought I was great, Gucci. I did not. I was a genius. Saw my code. It's terrible. To this day, my high school code is so bad. And I did not achieve the results that I wanted because I made like several mistakes in my code. But that's fine. I was a high school student. I was getting into it. And also presentations. I cannot see my own. Presenting your work and revising. So that's important, but I'll talk a little bit more about that and visit that topic at the end. So some tips that have helped me a lot. As you can see, I battle my love for Animal Crossing with abstract/paper deadlines often because I love Animal Crossing so much. And also deadlines are deadlines and I have to achieve them. I put my deadlines in my calendar 2 weeks before the actual deadline. It kind of forces me to not just rush, but to kind of give something solid. And then I look at the real deadline and realize I was just being rude to myself. And then it gives me a little bit more time to reach out to professionals, to look at my abstract, to ask them for help, to see if I was doing anything wrong, or maybe if I have a paper that I want to show, I can ask my friends to look over it to make sure I was using the right terminology, or maybe I'm being too pretentious and I'm using the terminology a bit too much. Having an accountability partner is amazing. It's not necessary. Sometimes having like a Slack group is just telling them updates, to having an advisor. Sometimes an advisor is quite hard to get. And also having checking in with a graduate student. Most graduate students use Twitter. I use Twitter often as well to find my resources. But any nature competition we submit our projects to, I will talk about that. How do you find projects cute? One hypothesis is good. How do you have cute graphics for yourself? I have an app called Zepeto. It's a better version of Snapchat. Let's just say that. It also has BTS little emoticons and all that stuff, so I like it. I stand BTS, I guess what the kids would say. Oh God, the chat. I used to listen to a lot of K-pop when I was in high school. It wasn't BTS, it was GOT7, but now they're a little bit separated. But back on topic, not on K-pop. I also have personal goals attached to every project completion or every goal. So for my research projects that I actually like, I submit them to conferences, and I have a tendency to go to really nice conferences. I'm trying to aim for this year. I'm aiming for Sanchez, which it was supposed to be in Hawaii. I think it's not going to be in Hawaii this year. But my last conference that I went to did a poster. It was in Washington, D.C. They gave me a travel grant, so I got to fly in for free. I got to hang out with some of my friends a little bit while doing my poster presentations, and I won first place in my first year. That is so hard to get. I cried during my work ceremony. I worked so hard, and also the judges almost made me cry. That's not common, by the way. I was just very exhausted during that. First place, baby. Love was successful. ERN is when you go to college, apply to ERN. They're amazing. They're so wonderful, and they really do care about diversity, not just like, terms, it's just like looking good on paper. They actually want you to have leadership positions. They give you the material. It's a lot of things. They're a really good conference. And so I'm aiming for Sanchez. I was supposed to submit for Grace Hopper, and then I just could not finish. I just couldn't finish the results that I wanted, and I was just like, I'm not going to present at Grace Hopper. I was just doing it next year. So that's a valid, but I'm aiming for Sanchez so I can have a nice place to go to. Okay, so managing roadblocks is extremely important. I just want to state this real fact. I know a lot of research projects in high school kind of stop because of roadblocks, mainly running out of data. Results are not like what you expected. And also Stack Overflow is not solving your code. I had so much problems in high school with Stack Overflow that I could not program for the life of me. Trying to learn Python in 3 months was not smart. But there's different ways you can kind of solve that and going about roadblocks. Right. So I gathered a quote, small list of helpful organizations. I know that not everyone in this meeting is located in the United States. If you're not, I'm going to put in the Girl Genius Slack. I simply need to gather a little bit more resources and a little bit more time to get some international resources because you guys all other countries and it's all different. But for the United States, we have the National Academy of Sciences. Every state kind of has their own National Academy of Sciences. For instance, Alabama, they have their own. You can apply for grants. California is a really big one. And New York Academy of Sciences is an extremely big one. I think they mainly do a lot of high school stuff. They're really good. But if you look at your local Academy of Sciences, a lot of professors go there and they love talking to high school students. Another one, if you're in college, is Journal of Young Investigators. You can submit your papers there. You can look at resources and REUs. They're a really good place if you just want to be connected to other peers and you look at papers that are in your, I guess, level, in your grade level when you're in college. Built by Girls, I just became an ambassador this year, so I will give you my referral code if you want. An amazing group, honestly. I really love Built by Girls a lot. They have different, not everyone's a part of research, not everyone is. It's really good if you just want to, if you have an idea you just want to bounce out of or just ask someone will answer your question. So join Hack Club for high schoolers. I was not a part of Hack Club. I was a part of First Robotics. And I know First canceled all their activities for this year. For this season, sorry. So an alternative is Hack Club. They are partnering with GitHub for a high school competition, so look into that. There's Anita B's Sisters. I think that's when you get into undergraduate. I think they'll accept you if you're in high school. You can just fly and say you're a rising college freshman. I don't encourage that. You didn't hear it from me. But Sisters is a listserv/forum. There's a lot of professionals in there, a lot of academic women. It's exclusively women. So you just go in, look at whoever's in there. They usually chat each month or so. You'll see emails come in and out. So it's a really good group. Rewriting the code. I'm a rewriting the code fellow for this year and for last year. So good group just to talk about. Oh, love first. All these commitments. How do I handle all these commitments? I don't know. I guess I drink a lot of cold brew and cry in my bed sometimes. That's how I get everything. Another great resource, amazing honestly, is Scientific Latino. They're mainly on Twitter, but they are an amazing organization. If you really just want to talk to someone about research, they are mainly dedicated to pushing more people of color into research roles, graduate, undergraduate, amazing group. I love them so much. The founder's really sweet. I just truly, honestly, I have nothing bad to say about that group at all. MLH, Major League Hacking, and another amazing place, they have a lot of high school hackathons remotely. So if you don't know what you want to do for a research project, doing a hackathon project and kind of building up to going to a research project is a great way. Another place is Internet FF. They're like a internet safety privacy group on Twitter. They have weekly town halls, weekly meetings. If you just want to bounce some ideas about internet privacy, internet policy, or anything of the sort, there's a lot of people there that's willing to help you. NASA, NASA, they're really, as you know, NASA does a lot of things for high schoolers, and if you, depending on what your level is, you can probably find a competition there. And also a lot of the staff, the engineers are really welcoming. How do you really find all these resources? It's really hard to find some of these sometimes. So, okay, I'll talk more about that. Oh, I'm so sorry. And Hacktoberfest. I did Hacktoberfest in 2017. Also Google Coded in like 2018. So those are more coding competitions, but the people who host projects there are in academia, also do some research. So it's like a mix. So if you want to have a little bit more free time, I think they're going to do it next year and this year as well. Yes, Harvard CS50 is a good introduction to CS Comp Sci. I think the person I have a crush on tutors for that class. So, so Hacktoberfest and Google Coding is a really great place. I'm just being really informal. Okay, so this is the Angelina Appreciation Post. She has been my mentor since high school. I love her so much. I sent her this slide and she wants to frame it. She has a little 3D character. I got her to create an account on Sabeto, and we're posing. And so she has really helped me with Angel Scan. I started doing that project independently and I asked for help. We originally met at a hackathon. She was mentoring, and she also had her daughter Natsume, which was, her daughter was just a small little potato. And now I'm naming her and she's a full human being now. So it's so funny. And we met at a hackathon, found out she was like a part-time mentor for my first robotics team. And I wanted to start up a machine learning project, and I was doing it on my own for a few months in the school year. And I asked for help. And her husband was doing a machine learning project and she was trying to help him. And so she was just like, yeah, I can definitely try to help you. And so she kind of helped me with the tools and the setup. We would meet semi-regularly, but now she's been my mentor for like 2 to 3 years now. She's literally almost like a sister to me. This is the appreciation post because she deserves all the appreciation. She's the best adult. Also, her daughter agrees that she is the best adult too. And she had to put up with my nonsense as a high schooler and a college student. So she has seen me turn into like a snot-nosed, scared senior to a crying, disappointed college student. So she has seen my growth. And I just want to stress, like, you don't need a mentor for every project. Sometimes you do it on your own. But just asking for help in certain groups, like Women Who Code, she's one of the main directors for Women Who Code, and she also runs a conference on the side as well. Twitter is an amazing resource to finding mentors. Just as a high school student, I kind of don't encourage mentorship from people you just don't know from organizations, like going through Twitter, because you just don't know the person and how they would handle a high school student. Not everyone that is a scientist has good intentions, so I don't really encourage finding mentors just randomly. So we're doing it through organizations like Built by Girls, and rewriting the code, and there's also another mentoring site. I just don't know on the top of my head, but going through official organizations so you have someone to, like if they ever do something wrong or say something mean to you, you can always report their behavior. Also, let me go in the chat for a quick bit. Yeah, codecademy as well. Okay, so future findings. I'm just gonna go, we're gonna have a little more details in the Q&A about that. But having a workshop talking about your research is a really good way instead of publishing. Publishing in high school, there's different ways, but starting journals and organizations force you to pay. And I don't encourage students to pay for showing off the results. That is not the way to do it. Writing Medium articles is a great way to kind of showcase what you have done. Doing competitions is great, and also using research projects for college and graduate applications is amazing. I have featured maybe like 3 of my research projects on my Google CSI application, and I think having research really helps showcase that you know how to try to tackle problems. I know there's different research competitions. The one I can sponsor with my full heart is my NASA Bees in Space, because they don't discourage you if you don't have a wet lab or professor with you. As long as you have your teacher's approval, they'll accept your proposal. I don't encourage Intel. Intel, I have my own bias with Intel. They don't really advertise to low-income schools, especially schools where there isn't a lot of STEM activity. I was one of those schools where I never knew Intel existed, and then I was like one of the first high school students to ever be accepted for Intel from my region. And so I don't typically encourage them. That's just more my bias. But Google Science Fair is more open to international students. There's different competitions. I mainly don't promote competitions for research. That's just me, especially your high school. You don't need to go to competition for everything with your projects, because they're your work. And also kind of will be, if you don't have the resources, it's going to kind of highlight like there is a resources for MC for certain students, especially if you have a parent who's already in STEM and you don't have a parent that's in STEM. You can kind of see the difference, and it breaks my heart when I judge those competitions, because a lot of the students have said that they don't feel confident and they don't want to go back because they started going to that research competition. What's known as Natural Sciences and Computer Science? No, Natural Human Space is open to biology. It is a mainly genomics mix. So if you like biology, do it. Also, Intel is open to all types of research projects in the STEM field. So, okay, so it's Q&A time. I went so over time. I'm so sorry. Even sociology related, I think you might have to go on their website. I am not an Intel sponsoree or anything. So I think if you want to, I think you just need to show your results. I think they might have sociology. How are you able to find all the resources? Question 4. Okay, so I go on Twitter a lot. Like a lot. It's quite funny. But I have a professional Twitter and my own Twitter. So my professional Twitter, I usually spend maybe like an hour not every week, but every other week to try to find resources. So like typing in high school, competition, apply. For me, I would do like college, professor, apply. Like it takes a bit of time to try to filter things in Twitter, but usually a lot of professors and organizations go through Twitter, which is quite weird, but that's what they normally do. Resources to find data. So let me go type in. There's meta.com. I normally find that for my papers. For data, there's Google data sets. It really depends on what you specifically want to do, what type of data you're looking for. Depending on the organization, you know what, so if you want to email me, it's like, if you know what specifically you want to do and you're not finding enough data, this is my normal email, and it won't let me go. This is my normal email, so you can ask. How do you ask them to be your mentor for research? I usually try to meet up with them first to see what their expectations would be. Maybe that's having maybe like a monthly meeting. It really depends on who they are, and what time commitments do they have. But having a meeting first, and then following up with, hey, can you be my mentor for this specific project? I think your skills are really great, and I think I would like that expertise. What are your first steps is our research project? Reading a lot if you have a topic that you want to do. Maybe watching some YouTube videos. There's a lot of big tech engineers that are finally doing more YouTube videos.
Yeah, sure.
There's different ways. What should look better on a college application? Creating a research project or participating in a research project by organization? So both. Independent or group, it really depends on your college. I would say participating in a research project by organizations is nice. I don't think you focus on what's good. Yeah, don't focus on what looks good on a college application. Just do it for your own thing. I don't want to say college applications are afterthought, because I know that during this time it's kind of grinding time for a lot of high school students to do something remarkable. So
Yeah.
Your work. Okay. So I on the research competition, except papers or posters. I recommend doing a poster first. Since a lot of competitions, conferences are kind of virtual, really focusing on not the aesthetics of your poster, focusing on I should say during this time. I would say if you're doing a poster, focus on what your time might be, because I noticed with a lot of people who do posters, they rush it a lot because they think posters are something you can easily slap onto a project. Posters you can slap on easily, when it really isn't. It takes a lot of time to have a good poster, and people really care about that because it's kind of like your first steps into pushing yourself into academia. Depending on the conference, it's a lot. So I want to say this, that not every conference and not every competition is like a size fits all. Every conference has different requirements. Where do you look for information for our research? How do you develop the technical skills needed to create a research project? Start it. You just have to start it. It's so rude to say it, but you have to just start it. And then if you don't know how to do it, you just have to keep on coding. And it's so rude to say that, but my Angelina told me just to keep on coding. And if you have an area, you just have to work through it. Because that's kind of how you start. And if you have a bit of a gap, going on Codecademy, doing more independent, not doing that project, but doing projects that have that similar technical skill set. Like maybe you want to build a database, but you don't know how to use SQL. Doing a small SQL project on the side, and then going back and using that skill will help that a lot. I know this is like all over the place. Best way to narrow down your topic. I have that same problem because I can't narrow down my topics. Actually working on it, and if you have a roadblock, it's kind of like an easy way to kind of strip down the meat of your topic. Oh my God, you guys are giving me so much questions. I feel so overwhelmed, but thank you so much. I didn't know much. What are some great organizations for research projects? Great organizations. It depends. Can you talk, Marina, can you kind of give me like what type of projects you want to do specifically? Like are you doing more engineering? Are you doing architecture? Like give me a little bit more about that. How did you start machine learning? I broke my computer with my first project, and that was quite scary. And then I figured out that cloud computing is the way to go with machine learning, doing Kubernetes. I find machine learning really difficult once math kicks in. How do you learn these concepts without being particularly good at math? Hey, I'm terrible at math club. I don't know any. I do know some things about math. Not particularly good at it. Let me send you. Let me put in a resource in the group. chat. I'm sorry for sis going all over the place, but I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing any questions slowly. There is an amazing textbook organization, Springer. They're releasing a lot of textbooks for free. Textbooks are kind of boring to go through, but if you don't want to go through the math side of it, or you just need a little bit more assistance, you don't know anyone that might help you, they're a really good way to just looking through the textbooks. And this is so much. I'm so sorry. I'm just saying a lot of things at once. Let me send it over. Actually, let me pause screen sharing for a bit. So, let me put this in. They also have different textbooks for, so it's not just for CS. They have textbooks for everything. Really, really nice of them to do this because I know they might be losing a lot of money for helping the people out. Oh my God, it's not screen sharing. Okay. All right. I put it in the chat. Considering our current situation, how do you recommend going about biotech/healthcare research at home? So, Jupyter Notebook or Google Colab, which is a ripoff of Jupyter Notebook, amazing way to start with any data or just biomedical data without a wet lab or doing anything. Let me put in Google Colab. I use Google Colab. I'm sorry for jumping all over the place with everyone's questions. If I did not answer your question, you also have my email. Also, I can stay on for a little bit. That's a problem. Google Jupyter Notebook, Google Colab, and also going on Meta. I'm going to put all these resources in the chat. Actually, I have a small, there was a small project I was doing called the People's Library. I don't really do it anymore because I didn't have any, I didn't ask for people's help, which was a bad thing to do. But I had like a database of certain things, and I was trying to navigate, put more stuff for high school students. So I'll see if I can just put that in there. And I'll just make the database publicly available for everyone. Let me put that in there. The pros and cons of doing independent research versus your kind of research. Pros is you are being accountable. It really shows that you know how to do things on your own. I really love when high school students do independent because you kind of ask them what they have done, and it shows me like, okay, these are the steps you had. This is more of like, if you like working independently, it's really cool to do. The cons is you're working by yourself, so you have to be almost your own advisor sometimes and your own mentor. It's a lot to do by yourself in high school, especially because you can't really, during this time, you can't really rely on a lot of people. And I guess another con is a lot of a lot of organizations like seeing other people on like certain abstracts, like let's just say decide versus by you, this person, this person, this person is kind of fun. It shows that you have, it shows that you know how to work in a group. I guess another pro is you don't have to avoid authorship rules. This is the whole situation in academia that people fight over authorship. Like who's the first author, who's the second author. It's a whole problem in academia, so independent research kind of removes that whole thing. Any steps to follow if you want to start an independent project? I guess doing preliminary readings, finding any research that you find that's similar in your field. I'm just trying to type and also look at the chat. I'm so sorry if I'm not answering your questions as well as I can. Also doing this on a different computer. Let me add. Oh yeah, it's technically the end of this webinar. Oh, I'm so sorry if I did not answer your questions the best of my ability. But if you do, like I said, my email is in the chat. If you do have any more questions, or if I did not answer your question in the best way, please, please, please email me. Like, I am free. I have a lot of my classes that I'm pushing back. A lot of assignments I'm pushing back as well, but I'm free. And also, I do a lot of essay reviews for Google CSSI. I just review people's essays. Strangely enough, a lot of people who I review their essays get accepted, so I'm really happy for that. Like I said, my email and my Instagram. Sometimes I'll check my DM, sometimes I don't. Also, you can follow me on Twitter, most likely email. Oh, let me just put it in the chat one more time. All right, thank you guys so much. I'm so sorry for rushing it all and jumbling up my words. But I'll probably put this presentation in the Girl Munis group, not group me, Slack as well. So thank you guys.